The red light above the camera flips on, and the producer is hissing, "We're live, don't swear." And I'm standing there with a mic clipped to my collar, like I'm somebody who belongs on morning television. My palms are wet. The host is already smiling at me in that too bright way, and on the screen behind his shoulder, my name is spelled correctly for once. Dikar Layla Hassan, researcher. Like the universe is trying to gaslight me into believing my life is normal. Then the Chiron changes. A banner slides across the bottom. Local scientists' breakthrough goes global, and the studio phone starts ringing so hard, the receptionist actually picks up and says, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Channel 9 is on line 2. No, sorry. ABC is on line 2. Wait, now it's BBC?" The host laughs like it's cute. "Looks like you're popular today." I smile back, because my face knows what to do, even if my chest doesn't. But in my peripheral vision, my assistant, my actual assistant, the one who usually schedules lab meetings and begs me to eat something, holds up her own phone with that look people get right before they tell you somebody died. Her screen is a storm of notifications. She mouths, "Your dad." My throat closes so fast it's like I swallowed a fist. The host is asking me, "So what did it feel like when you found out your paper was trending?" And I'm nodding, while my brain is already sprinting down a hallway I haven't walked in years. Because my dad doesn't call. Not like this. Not after the last time. My assistant leans in behind the camera line, pretending to fix my mic, and whispers, "He's calling everyone. Your mum too. They're messaging the comms office. Someone in your extended family just posted a screenshot of something." A cold sweat breaks out under my blazer. On the monitor, my face is calm, professional. My eyes are doing that shiny thing they do when I'm trying not to blink too hard. Off camera, my assistant turns her screen toward me, and I see it. A WhatsApp family group chat. I muted so long ago it shouldn't even exist in my phone's memory. The group name is still the same tacky one with too many emojis, Hassan Family Legends. And it's melting down like a server under a DDoS attack. Aunties spamming prayer hands, cousins screaming in caps, somebody posting a link to an article with my headshot and the word doctor in the first sentence like it's a personal insult. And right at the top, pinned like a knife, is my dad's message. "That's my daughter. Always knew she'd do something big." I actually feel my teeth click together. The host is still talking. The camera is still on. The studio lights are still hot on my skin. And my dad who told people I was a dropout like it was a funny story, like it was a warning label he could slap on me, has picked today to crawl out of whatever corner he shoved me into and try to stand in my sunlight. My assistant's phone buzzes again. She flinches like it shocked her. "Your dad just emailed the university," she whispers. "He's asking for tickets to the gala. He says he wants to support you in person." The host says, "We're going to a quick break, but stay with us. Dr. Hassan will show us what this breakthrough could mean for everyday people." He turns away, still smiling, and the moment the red light goes off, he leans in, voice dropping. "Your comms team is freaking out. They want you to do a statement after the segment. Apparently, you're getting international requests." My mouth tastes metallic. I nod anyway. Behind the set, my assistant is already typing with both thumbs, firing off messages like she's putting out a fire with a teaspoon. "Your inbox is exploding," she says. "There's an invitation to speak at a conference in Zurich. There's a journalist asking for baby photos." She swallows. "And your dad just left a voicemail. He's crying. He's crying. Of course he is." I finally glance down at my own phone. not to check it first, because I refuse to start this story with that, but because the weight of it in my pocket feels like a live animal. 37 missed calls, unknown numbers, a number I know by heart, even though I deleted it, and a text, the first one from him in years. Layla, call me now. We need to talk. Need. Like I'm the one who owes him. My assistant's eyes flick to my face. Do you want me to block him? She asks, like she's offering to take a bullet for me. My hands are shaking. I press them together at my waist so nobody sees. Not yet, I say, and my voice comes out thin. Not yet. Because if I block him now, I don't get to control what he does next. He'll spin. He'll go louder. He'll call relatives. Call the dean. Call the media. Tell a story that makes him look like the tragic father of a prodigy he never abandoned. And then my assistant makes a small, strangled sound. She turns her screen toward me again, and this time, it's not the family chat. It's Twitter. Or X. Whatever we're calling the place where people throw knives for sport. A verified account, one of those feel-good local news pages, has posted a clip from an old Facebook Live my cousin did years ago at a family dinner. The caption says, "Before she was Dr. Layla Hassan, her family doubted her watch the moment her dad said she dropped out. Now she's changing the world." The video is shaky and badly lit. I can hear plates clinking. Someone laughs in the background, and then, clear as a bell, my dad's voice, smug and casual. "Layla? Oh, she dropped out. Couldn't handle it. Too much for her. She's doing, I don't know, some job. It's fine. Not everyone's made for big things." The clip ends with my aunt laughing like it's hilarious. The studio around me goes quiet in my ears, like somebody pressed mute on the world. My assistant's voice sounds far away. "It's going viral," she says. They're mad. They're tagging you. They're tagging the university. They're asking if you're okay." I stare at the screen until my eyes burn, because I remember that night. I remember sitting at the end of that table, my cheeks hot, my fork frozen halfway to my mouth. I remember how nobody defended me. I remember how my dad didn't even look at me when he said it, like I was already an embarrassing fact he'd filed away. And now that exact humiliation is being played on repeat for strangers, turned into a feel-good arc. My stomach flips. Not because of the internet. I can handle the internet. I've survived peer review. It's because I can already predict my dad's next move. He's going to say he was motivating me. He's going to say it was a misunderstanding. He's going to insist he always believed. He's going to try to step into frame right now, while the world is watching, and rewrite my entire life like it's a draft he gets to edit. The producer pops her head out from behind a curtain. 2 minutes, she calls. "Layla, you good?" I look at her, and I want to laugh, genuinely, because what does good even mean when your whole childhood is trending? I take one breath, then another. Then I hear myself say, out loud, surprising even me, "After this segment, I'm posting something." My assistant blinks. Posting what? I open my messages and scroll with my thumb until I find it. A photo I took years ago, late at night, sitting on my tiny studio apartment floor with my laptop balanced on a laundry basket. It's a screenshot of an email from my dad. Subject line, "Stop wasting time." The body is short, brutal, the kind of brutal that's clean enough to pretend it's tough love. If you can't finish, just admit it. Don't embarrass our family dragging it out. Tell people you dropped out and move on. I stare at it until my pulse steadies, until the anger becomes usable. Then I lock my phone and slide it back into my pocket, like a weapon I'm not drawing yet. The red light flips back on. We're live again. The host says, "Welcome back, Dr. Hassan. You've been getting attention worldwide today." I nod and smile and answer his questions like my life isn't on fire. I talk about my research in plain language. I talk about ethics and patient impact and how science is built on 1,000 tiny failures no one claps for. I keep my voice steady. I keep my hands still. But my brain is counting down. Because while I'm speaking, my dad is calling again. And again. And again. Like if he just keeps ringing, he can force me into the role he wants. The grateful daughter who finally came home successful enough to be worth claiming. When the segment ends, applause fills the studio. The host pats my shoulder. The producer beams. Someone shoves a release form in front of me. My assistant tugs me toward the back, like we're escaping a crime scene. And the second we're out of camera range, my phone rings again. "Dad." My assistant reaches for it instinctively, like she's going to snatch it and throw it into traffic. I hold up a hand. "No," I say. "Let it ring." It goes to voicemail. A second later, a new message appears from my mum. "Please answer him. He is upset. We are so proud of you. We..." My laugh comes out sharp and ugly. "We," I repeat, like the word is bitter on my tongue. My assistant is watching me carefully. "What do you want to do?" she asks. I look at the hallway outside the studio, the posters on the wall, the framed photos of smiling presenters, the whole polished world that has no idea what it cost me to stand here. And I hear myself say, very calmly, "To understand why this feels unreal, you need to know what my parents were saying about me before today." Because this didn't start with a viral headline. It started with a slow, daily erosion. Small comments that piled up until I couldn't tell the difference between their voice and mine. I grew up in a house where love was conditional and performance-based. Like a report card pinned to the fridge could buy you affection for another week. My brother was naturally brilliant in school, and my dad loved to introduce him to people like he was presenting a trophy. "This one," he'd say, clapping his hand on my brother's shoulder, "this one will be a doctor." When I got into a competitive PhD program, I thought, naively, that it would finally flip a switch, that it would make them proud in a way that was solid, permanent, not dependent on the mood in the house. At first, they were excited. The first year, my mum would tell distant relatives, "Layla is doing a doctorate," like it made her taller. My dad would nod like it was expected, but excitement is easy when it's an idea, when it's a story you can tell. The real version, the one that involved long hours, tiny stipends, failed experiments, and me missing birthdays because the lab doesn't care about cake, wasn't cute enough for them. By the second year, my dad started asking, at every family dinner, "So when do you finish? When do you become a real doctor?" He'd say it like a joke, but he'd watch my face afterward like he was measuring how much the joke hurt. I learned to smile through it. I learned to redirect. I learned to keep my explanations short, because if I went into details, he'd cut me off with, "Too complicated. You always talk like you're trying to sound smart." I was broke all the time. PhD funding sounds fancy, until you realize it's basically rent money and instant noodles. My friends were taking vacations and buying furniture and talking about adult life, and I was bargaining with myself at the grocery store, eggs or bread, not both. I'd call my mum, sometimes, just to hear a familiar voice, and she'd ask, Are you sure this is worth it? Like she was worried, but in that way, where worry is just criticism wearing a softer coat. The real turning point was year 3, the year everything went wrong in the lab. A key reagent batch was contaminated, which meant months of work evaporated. My supervisor was under pressure. Funding was tight. I was sleeping 4 hours a night, living on coffee, and developing that hollow feeling in my chest that comes when you're functioning, but not okay. I went home one weekend because my dad insisted. "You never visit," he said. "You think you're better than us now." At dinner, I was quiet, trying to conserve energy. My dad started telling a story about my cousin's new job, praising him loudly. Then he looked at me and said, "And Layla is still studying. Still," I said carefully. "It's research. It takes time." He snorted. "Time. Everyone needs time. But at some point you have to admit you can't do it." The table went still. My brother stared at his plate. My mum shifted in her chair like she wanted to disappear. I felt my face burn. "I can do it," I said. "I'm doing it." My dad leaned back and smiled like he'd caught me in a lie. "Then why are you still broke? Why are you still living like a student? Why are you still not finished? Maybe you're not cut out for big things. Maybe you should do something simpler." I remember my hands shaking so badly my fork rattled. I remember swallowing hard, trying not to cry at the table like a child. And then he said it, the line that would haunt me later. "You can just tell people you dropped out. It's not shameful. It's more shameful pretending." I stood up. I couldn't even speak. I walked to the bathroom and locked the door and stared at myself in the mirror with that horrible split feeling, half rage, half numb. I remember gripping the sink so tight. My knuckles went white and thinking, I'm not going to beg these people for dignity. That night, after we got home, I checked my email and saw his message waiting like a stamp on my forehead. "Stop wasting time. Don't embarrass our family. Tell people you dropped out and move on." Something in me snapped into place after that. Not in a dramatic movie way. In a quiet, cold way. I stopped explaining. I stopped asking them to understand. I stopped bringing my struggle home, like maybe they'd hold it gently. I learned to keep my life separate. I went back to my tiny apartment and my lab bench, and I built my work in silence. And the funny thing is, the silence worked. When you stop arguing with people who want you small, you get your energy back. You stop spending your breath on convincing them you deserve to exist. You spend it on finishing the thing. My PhD wasn't a triumphant montage. It was ugly. It was me crying in stairwells after experiments failed. It was me calling my supervisor at midnight because I was sure I'd ruined everything. It was me sitting on the floor, surrounded by papers, whispering, "Just get through this week." And then, slowly, the small wins came. A successful run. A data set that finally made sense. A committee meeting where someone said, "This is strong work." And I felt my whole body loosen like I'd been holding my breath for years. I didn't tell my parents about most of it. Not because I was punishing them. Because I couldn't survive their commentary. By the time I defended, my dad had already told enough people I'd probably quit. He'd said it at dinners, at weddings, at gatherings, like it was trivia. Sometimes relatives would message me with that fake concern. "Heard you stopped? Are you okay?" And I'd stare at my phone, throat tight, and think, he really wants this to be true. The day of my defense, my mum texted, "Good luck." My dad didn't say anything. When I passed, when my committee shook my hand, and my supervisor's eyes shone, and someone said, "Congratulations, doctor." I went outside and sat on the curb behind the building and cried so hard. I got a headache. Not because I was happy. I was happy. But also because I knew, in that moment, I had done it without them. And that meant something was broken that wouldn't magically fix itself just because I had letters after my name. I bought a cheap frame for the diploma because it felt ridiculous to spend money on something that was already hard-won. And when I finally had enough savings to move into a place that didn't smell like old carpet, I hung it above my fireplace. Not because I wanted to show off, because I wanted one spot in my home where the version of me my dad tried to erase couldn't be denied. I didn't invite my parents over. At first, my mum would drop hints. "We should come visit. Your father would like to see your place." But every time I pictured him standing under that framed PhD, I pictured his face doing that thing. Tight smile, calculating eyes, like he was looking for a way to make it about him. I pictured him saying, "See, I pushed you. I made you strong." And I couldn't handle it. I couldn't let him rewrite the pain as parenting. So we stayed distant, polite on holidays, brief calls that never went deep. I watched them from far away, like you watch a storm you can't stop. Then my research started getting noticed. Not in a celebrity way, in the slow academic way. Citations, collaborations, invitations. A journalist emailed. Then another. My university comms office asked if they could pitch a story. I said yes because I believed in the work, because the work might help people. I didn't think about my family. I didn't think the internet would dig up old dinner clips like it was mining for fossils. And now, it's today, and my dad is suddenly performing pride in public, like it's his job. After the studio, my assistant and I end up back at my office, the one with the sterile carpet and the whiteboard covered in half-erased equations. She closes the door behind us, like she's trying to keep the outside world from leaking in. My inbox is a war zone. My calendar looks like someone threw darts at it. Media requests, conference invites, a frantic email from the dean. "Can you please confirm your availability for a press conference tomorrow?" And threaded through it all, like weeds, are messages from my parents. My dad sends another text. "People are saying horrible things about me online. Fix it. Fix it." My mum calls twice, then leaves a voicemail that starts with her crying and ends with her saying, "Just talk to him, please. He's your father." I sit down hard in my chair. My assistant hovers. "Do you want me to take over?" she asks. I can filter. "No," I say, too fast, because this part is mine. I've been living in the shadow of their story for too long. I open the viral clip again. I watch my dad say, "She dropped out," like it's entertainment. I watch my own face in the corner of the frame. Young, stiff, eyes wide, trying not to react. Watching it now makes my stomach twist. Not because I'm ashamed, but because I'm furious for that younger version of me who sat there and swallowed it. Then I open my notes app and start typing. Not a speech, not a manifesto, just the truth. In the only way I know how. Clean, direct, impossible to misinterpret. I write, "I didn't drop out. I finished my PhD. I did it while being told, repeatedly, that I couldn't." I pause. My hands tremble. I can hear my dad's voice in my head, mocking, "You always want attention." I delete that thought like it's a virus. I keep typing. A clip is going around of my father saying I dropped out. That wasn't a misunderstanding. It was part of a pattern. My assistant shifts behind me, silent, letting me decide. I scroll to the screenshot of my dad's email, stop wasting time, and stare at it. This is the moment, the fork in the road. If I post it, it will explode. It will humiliate him. It will humiliate me too, in a different way, because it means the world will see what I came from. It means strangers will have opinions. It means my family will call me ungrateful, dramatic, cruel. If I don't post it, my dad gets to keep saying he always knew. He gets to keep walking around in the warmth of my work like he didn't spend years trying to snuff it out. My phone rings again. Dad. Again. I watch it ring until it stops. Then a text arrives immediately after, like he's pacing. If you don't answer, I will come to your house. My stomach drops. Because he's never been to my house. He doesn't know what street. He doesn't know what the inside looks like. He doesn't know about the framed PhD above my fireplace. The one thing in my home that feels like an altar to survival. And the idea of him showing up, banging on my door, forcing his way into my space, like he owns it, makes something in me go very still. I type one more line into my post. Please don't contact me about repairing someone else's reputation with my silence. Then I attach the screenshot. I don't write a paragraph about forgiveness. I don't ask for pity. I don't say, I still love my parents. I don't soften it so nobody feels uncomfortable. I press post. For a moment, nothing happens. Just my screen, bright and quiet. Then my notifications start rolling in like thunder. Comments, shares, messages from colleagues. Are you okay? Messages from strangers. I'm proud of you. Messages from relatives. How could you do this to your father? My assistant exhales like she's been holding her breath for an hour. Okay, she whispers. Okay, you did it. My dad calls again. Immediately. The call comes through like a siren. I don't answer. My mom texts. You embarrassed us. Us again. Always us. My hands are steady now. That's the weird part. The shaking stopped the second I chose. I open my contacts. I block my dad. I block my mom too. Because if I don't, she'll become his messenger like she always does. My assistant's eyes widen. Are you sure? I stare at the framed photo on my desk. Me in my graduation gown. My supervisor beside me. Both of us smiling like we survived a war. I think about my fireplace at home, the diploma above it, the clean lines of the frame, the quiet pride that lives in that room. I'm sure, I say. My laptop pings. An email from the dean again, but this time the subject line is different. Press conference update. I click it. Given the personal attention this has received, we want to support you. Please let us know if you'd prefer to step back from media for a while. Support. The word feels foreign and warm and slightly unreal. My assistant slides a cup of water toward me. I realize I haven't drunk anything since the studio. My throat aches. Outside my office door, I can hear the hallway buzz. People moving, talking. Life continuing like it doesn't care about my family drama. My phone buzzes one more time. An unknown number. Probably my dad using someone else's phone. I watch it light up. I let it go dark. Then I open my messaging app and type one last thing. Not publicly. Not for strangers. Just for myself. As a boundary that can't be negotiated. I create a new contact called Do Not Answer. And I add every number my parents have ever used. It's petty, maybe. It's also practical. That evening, when I finally get home, my house is quiet, in that way that makes your ears ring. I set my keys down. I don't turn on the TV. I don't check the internet again. I walk straight to the fireplace like I'm being pulled. The PhD is still there, framed, steady, catching the warm light from the lamp. My name in ink. The word doctor printed like it's a fact carved into stone. I stand under it for a long time, breathing. Somewhere out there, my dad is furious. He's probably telling people I'm ungrateful. He's probably calling relatives to rally them. He's probably rehearsing a story where he's the victim, and I'm the cruel daughter who changed once she got famous. He'll never stand in this room. He'll never look up and see what I built without him. He'll never get to point at it and pretend it belongs to him. My phone lights up again. Unknown number. One last attempt. I don't even flinch this time. I tap decline, set the phone face down, and let the silence win.